There is a moment in every man's life that changes everything. Not the day he gets rich, not the day he wins, not the day he finally proves everyone wrong. It's the day he stops lying to himself. And most men never reach that day. They don't fail because they're weak. They don't fail because life is unfair. They don't fail because they didn't have enough talent, luck, or opportunity. They fail because they mastered one skill better than anything else. They learn how to lie to themselves and believe it. You don't wake up one day and decide to destroy your life. It happens quietly, slowly, through excuses that sound reasonable, through thoughts that feel safe, through stories you tell yourself just to survive another day. I'm tired. I've been through a lot. This isn't the right time. I'll start when things calm down. I still have time. Those lies don't feel dangerous. That's why they work. They don't punch you in the face. They pat you on the back. They whisper. They soothe. They make you feel understood. And while you're being comforted, your life is bleeding out. At some point, you stop telling yourself the truth. Not because you're stupid, not because you're lazy, but because the truth started demanding more than you were willing to give. The truth asked for discipline. The truth asked for sacrifice. The truth asked you to give up comfort. The truth asked you to admit that the problem wasn't life. It was you. So you negotiated. You softened the language. You rewrote the narrative. You didn't quit. You took a break. You didn't give up. You were just regrouping. You weren't scared. You were being realistic. And slowly, without realizing it, you built a version of yourself that could survive without growing. That's the most dangerous place a man can live. Not failure, not pain, but comfort without progress. You see, pain forces honesty, but comfort allows deception. When life hurts bad enough, you have no choice but to look in the mirror. But when life is tolerable, when it's just uncomfortable enough to complain about, but not painful enough to change, that's where men disappear. They don't crash. They fade. They wake up one day and realize years are gone. Energy is gone. Hunger is gone. Fire is gone. And they don't know when it happened. It happened every time you said, tomorrow. It happened every time you chose relief over responsibility. It happened every time you avoided the mirror and distracted yourself instead.
Because lying to yourself isn't loud. It's subtle. It sounds like logic. It sounds like maturity. It sounds like patience. But deep down, you know, when you're not giving your best, when you're avoiding what needs to be done, when you're settling for a life that doesn't match your potential, that quiet discomfort you feel late at night, that heaviness in your chest when you're alone, that frustration you can't explain, that's not stress. That's truth trying to break through the lies. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. No one is coming to expose those lies for you. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to grab you by the shoulders and force you to be honest. You can live your entire life being almost disciplined, almost focused, almost consistent, and the world will let you. You'll still have a job. You'll still survive. You'll still breathe. But surviving isn't living. And deep down, you know the difference. You weren't born to just get through the day. You weren't built to spend your life explaining why you didn't do the things you said you would. You weren't meant to look back one day and realize you played small because it felt safer. Yet that's exactly what happens when a man keeps lying to himself. The lie becomes his identity. The excuse becomes his personality. The delay becomes his destiny.
And the worst part, after a while, the lie feels normal. You stop questioning it. You stop fighting it. You stop believing you were ever meant for more. That's when life really gets dangerous. Because when a man stops believing in his own potential, he doesn't collapse overnight. He rots slowly. He watches other people win and tells himself stories about luck. He watches time pass and tells himself he's still young. He watches opportunities slip by and tells himself they weren't meant for him anyway. All lies. And today isn't about motivation. It's not about hype. It's not about making you feel good. Today is about confrontation. Because the moment you stop lying to yourself, everything changes. Your excuses lose power. Your fear gets exposed. Your comfort zone starts to suffocate instead of protect you. And that moment is terrifying. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you admit where you really are, you're responsible for where you go next. And that responsibility scares most people back into their lies. But if you're still listening, if something in your chest feels tight right now, if part of you knows this is hitting too close to home, that's not coincidence. That's the part of you that's tired of pretending. The part that knows you were meant for more. The part that's done negotiating with mediocrity. This is the line. On one side is the version of you that keeps lying, delaying, and surviving. On the other side is the version of you that tells the truth and pays the price for it. Most men turn back here. The question is, will you? Because the day you stop lying to yourself is the day your real life begins.
Once you see the lie, you start noticing it everywhere. You hear it in your own voice, in the way you talk about your goals, in the way you explain your situation to other people, in the way you defend why your life looks the way it does. You start realizing something uncomfortable. You haven't been unlucky. You haven't been cursed. You haven't been misunderstood. You've been avoiding accountability. And that realization hurts more than any failure ever could. Because failure can be blamed on circumstances. Failure can be blamed on timing. Failure can be blamed on other people. But accountability points straight at the mirror. And most men don't fear pain. They fear that moment. The moment they realize no one else is holding them back. You see, as long as life is the problem, you get to stay comfortable. As long as the world is unfair, you don't have to change. As long as someone else is responsible, you get to wait. But the moment you admit the truth, that your habits, your discipline, your decisions built this life, you lose the luxury of excuses. That's why the lie is so seductive. The lie lets you rest without earning it. The lie lets you complain without acting. The lie lets you feel like a victim instead of a participant. And here's the brutal part. You don't even need to consciously lie. Your mind will do it for you. It will protect you from discomfort. It will rationalize weakness. It will convince you that staying the same is safer than becoming better. That voice in your head doesn't scream. It negotiates. It says, just today. It says, you deserve a break. It says, you'll go harder tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. Not because you're incapable, but because you've trained yourself to delay. Every time you choose comfort, you reinforce the lie. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you strengthen it. Every time you silence that inner tension, you weaken yourself. That's how men wake up at 35, 40, 50, and wonder where their fire went.
It didn't disappear. You extinguished it one excuse at a time. You didn't lose your discipline. You traded it. You traded it for comfort, for convenience, for the illusion of peace. But there is no peace in lying to yourself. Only numbness. And numbness is just pain delayed. Eventually, life collects. It always does. The body starts breaking down. The confidence erodes. The gap between who you are and who you know you could be becomes impossible to ignore. That's when frustration turns into anger. And anger turns inward. You start resenting people who are doing better than you. You start resenting the world. You start resenting yourself. And instead of facing the truth, many men double down on the lie. They distract harder. They scroll longer. They drink more. They numb everything because silence is dangerous. Silence forces reflection, and reflection forces truth. That's why so many people can't be alone with their thoughts, because deep down, they know what they should be doing. They know what they've been avoiding. They know which promises they broke to themselves. And that knowledge is heavy. But here's the shift. The moment everything changes. The truth isn't here to destroy you. It's here to free you. The truth doesn't say you're worthless. It says you're capable, but you've been playing small. The truth doesn't say it's over. It says you've been asleep.
And waking up hurts, because now you see the cost. Now you see the time wasted. Now you see the potential buried. And yes, it's overwhelming, but this is where men are separated. Some run back to the lie. They tell themselves it's too late. They tell themselves they're too far gone. They tell themselves change is for other people. That's just the lie wearing a different mask. Others sit in the discomfort. They don't run. They don't numb it. They let it burn. And that's where strength is born. Not in motivation, not in hype, but in honesty. Honesty about where you are. Honesty about who you've been. Honesty about what needs to change. This is where most content lies to you. They jump straight to solutions. They give you routines. They give you tactics. They give you steps. But none of that matters if you're still lying. Discipline doesn't work on a dishonest mind. Consistency doesn't stick without truth. Motivation fades when it's built on fantasy. Before anything changes on the outside, something has to break on the inside. The lie has to die. And killing it isn't dramatic, it's quiet. It's waking up and admitting, this isn't working. It's saying, I've been avoiding responsibility. It's acknowledging, I've been choosing comfort over growth. No audience, no applause, just you in the mirror. And that moment is lonely. Because once you stop lying, you can't hide behind anyone else. You can't blame your past. You can't point to circumstances. You own it. And ownership is heavy, but it's powerful. Because the moment you own your life, you gain the ability to change it. Not overnight, not easily, not without pain, but finally, honestly, this is where the real work begins. Not the work of grinding harder, not the work of proving anything to anyone, the work of becoming aligned, aligning your actions with your words, aligning your habits with your goals, aligning your identity with your potential. And that alignment requires one thing above all else: relentless self-honesty. No more soft language. No more excuses dressed as logic. No more pretending you don't know better. You do know better. And that's why this hurts. But pain isn't the enemy here. The lie is, and if you're still here, still listening, still uncomfortable, good, that means the lie is cracking. And in the next part, we're going to talk about what happens after that crack, when truth starts demanding action and comfort starts fighting back. Because stopping the lie is only the beginning. What comes next is where most men quit, and where a few finally change,